God bless you all this morning, brothers. Revelation chapter 2. As you'll see on the picture there, I've got the first 4 churches out of the 7 that is addressed to the churches in Asia Minor. And I want us to look at them 4 churches. And what I want to speak on is I don't want to focus on one church. I want to look at these 4 churches. And I want to just point out some things within them. At the end of every letter, brothers, to every church, we see this. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. First off, that to me suggests that these letters were not just writ for personal benefit of the churches that they was addressed to, but they are for me and you today. They're for me and you today. We see people losing the first love. We see churches on fire lose their first love. I've seen so many missions and churches start off good, but end up going the wrong way. They lose their first love. We see churches allowing false teaching within the churches. We see it all over the telly. We see, persecution, churches being persecuted, people put to death for the name of Christ. We see all these things. We see churches with, evil spirits within them. We see all this. We see all these things today. And I believe these churches, people as individuals and churches fall into each and every one of these brackets. There is churches and people that are lukewarm. There is people, like the church in Sardis that was dead. There is people that are dead. There is churches that are dead. So there's a lot of these things fall into individual and as a church. I believe they address today, the same today as they did then. All throughout we see this. And what I just want to look at this, brothers, is when we look at each one of these churches, I just want to look at some points to ponder on. What we see is Jesus giving the condition of each church. He's given us the condition of each church, and he points out 4 things. He points out their strengths, he points out their weaknesses, he points out their warnings, and he points out their promises. Just take, for instance, the church in Ephesus. I know your deeds. your hard work and perseverance. So they're a church for hard work, they're a church for perseverance. I know that you not tolerate wicked people, and that you've tested those who claim to be apostles but have not and found them to be false. They're not accepting false teachers. They're not accepting false doctrine within the church. They're testing everything. They're being like Bereans. This is their strengths. You have persevered and endured hardship for my name and have not grown weary. There were people who was under hardship. They've endured and they've not grown weary. He's praised them for their strengths, but now he's going to tell them the weaknesses. The weaknesses that they have forsaken their first love. They're doing everything else right. This church here in Ephesus is being commended for its steadfast against false teachers, and while it's doing everything and standing in the truth, they've lost their first love. Then comes the warning. Repent. If you do not repent, I will come to you and remove your lampstand from its place. But you have this in your favour. You hate the practices of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. But now he finishes now by giving them the promise. So look at how he's given the church the strength, weakness, warning. Now he gives them the promise and tells them, who has ears, let him hear. The one who's victorious, I will give the right to eat from the tree of life, which is in the paradise of God. Brothers, every church has strength and weaknesses. Every Christian has strength and weaknesses. Every Christian will be given warnings. Every church will be given warnings. But there is promises given here to the one who overcomes all this. The one who overcomes all these things will be victorious. And that's what we need to do, brothers. We need to overcome all these. And we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses today. But sometimes we need to take on board the warnings and be reminded of the promises. God bless.